Let me now bring in retired U.S. Marine Corps Colonel Mark Cancian, Senior Advisor for the Defense and Security Department at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Good morning to you, sir. Thanks, as always, for being here. Before I get to sanctions, let me just start with the fact that Russia, just launched its biggest aerial assault that we have seen since this war began. And on the heels of his meeting between Putin and Xi Jinping, what does that signal to you about Moscow's goals and where Putin stands this morning?
Well, it's clear that Putin is not interested in negotiations. We have heard that from the president, his frustration. This attack is consistent with what Russia has been doing. That is, they have attacks going all the time, but they will save up their production and launch these huge attacks periodically to try to overwhelm the Ukrainian air defenses. It's important to keep in mind that most of these attacking drones were shot down. A lot of them, most of them, 90+%, are these slow Shahed-type drones that are easy to shoot down. The missiles are much harder to shoot down, and they get through at a much higher rate.
I know you say these strikes are consistent with what we've seen from Russia, but what about them targeting and hitting, the main government building in Kyiv for the first time? Does that mark a dangerous escalation in this war, in your eyes?
It likely does signal an escalation. We have not seen that before. Having said that, government buildings are legitimate targets if countries are at war, so it's not a surprise, but unfortunately it's an escalation, and it shows that Russia's not moving towards any sort of negotiations.
Yeah. Robert and I were just talking about the fact that Russia keeps shrugging off these U.S. sanctions, right? In your eyes, what would a second phase of U.S. sanctions have to look like to put any sort of heat on Putin?
Well, there's been a lot of talk, and Congress has acted on secondary sanctions, that is, on countries that are buying commodities from Russia, like oil. The problem with secondary sanctions is, although they can be very powerful, they also hit countries where we're trying to do other business. For example, India. If we put very heavy tariffs onto India, we're also trying to work with them against China. We're trying to work with them on trade. So policies then collide with each other. That makes it harder to implement these kinds of punitive steps.
Yeah, and just before I let you go, sir, Putin, as you know, is once again floating openness to talks with Zelensky, but only if they're held in Moscow on his home turf. Would that actually change the fate of the war, or is that just smoke and mirrors from Russia?
It's hard to say. The fact that he might be willing to meet with Zelensky is important, because the Russians have consistently said they don't believe that Ukraine is a real country. They don't believe that Zelensky is a valid leader. It would be much better, of course, if the United States were part of that. And maybe meeting in Moscow would be okay, a three-way meeting. Much better, though, to meet on neutral turf. It looks a lot less like a suppliant, a subordinate coming to the headquarters.
Yeah. We will wait and see. I got to end it there, but Colonel Mark Cancian, thanks so much, as always, for your time, sir. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.